Welcome to Legwork University. I'm Charlie, and today we'll be reviewing the Email Performance Dashboard. Let's get started.
The Email Performance Dashboard is a really handy place to be able to check on the performance of your emails, specifically things like open rates, click rates, and delivery rates, to make sure that you know who your emails are being sent to, if they're being interacted with, and how much interaction is actually happening with those emails. To get to the email performance feature from the dashboard, go to the top middle of the screen on the dashboard and click on Email Performance on the gray bar at the top. Once you do so, you'll see the interface for the email performance show up here. By default, you'll be on the Performance option on the left. And in the Performance option, we'll see a nice overview of the last 30 days of all email interaction that you've had with your patient base. This 30-day time frame can be changed to be whatever you would like. For example, if you wanted to see all email performance for all time for your account, you can do that. But it's nice to be able to hone in on specific date ranges. Once you've found a date range that works for you, you'll see information like how many messages were sent in that time frame. How many of those sent messages were successfully delivered to the patient? How many times were those messages that were delivered opened? And that could mean that they were opened multiple times if it's higher than the amount of times they were delivered. And out of those times they were opened, how many times were there clicks that took place? You can also see this information on an individual basis. So if you want to look at specifically the comfort preference email, you can come down here to the overview and click on that to get more information about that. Or if you would like to just see a nice overview of specific messages, kind of in order of how often they've been delivered or how often they've been opened or clicked on, you can look at that here as well. You can also reorganize these based on these different features here by clicking on them. So if you want to see the most delivered messages, you can click on that to have it filter by that. You can filter by open rates, or you can filter by click rates as well. Now, just a moment ago, I mentioned we can look at more information about an individual email, so let's do that with the comfort preference email. When we click on it, it'll bring us to a more in-depth, kind of drilled-in view of that particular email and the interaction your patients have had with that email over the time frame that you see at the top of the screen. By default, the date range will be at 30 days, but of course you can change that to whatever you would like. And this gives you a nice overview of the performance of this particular email. So we can see that this email's been sent 3 times, it's been successfully delivered 3 times, it's been opened 9 times, and it has been clicked on 16 times within the 9 times it's been opened. What's nice about this is you can see the engagement over time, so you can see the literal dates that people have opened and clicked on the email specifically. So you get really nice detailed information about the engagement with these emails over the time period that you've specified above. You can also see what email client people are using to open the emails. So we can see here that it's been opened with Apple Mail, Firefox, on an iPhone browser, and in Outlook, which is really nice. You can also see what type of device people are looking at this email from. So for this example, the vast majority have been using a desktop computer for opening up their email. Even better than that, you can see the top clicked links within these emails and focus in specifically on these links to see which ones are getting the most attention. So for example, if you wanted to see how many people are clicking to go to your website in a marketing campaign email, or if you're wanting to see how many times people are opting to unsubscribe by clicking on the subscription links, or how many people are booking online, you can see all of that from here. On top of that, for this specific email, you can also look at information based on the recipients of the email. So when we click on recipients, again, we'll be able to change the date range to whatever we want, default past 30 days. And it'll start out by filtering by who has it been delivered to successfully. So you'll see the results of the 3 people that have had this email delivered to them recently within the last 30 days. You can then choose to filter by who has opened it within the last 30 days. And you can see that Ryan is the only person that's opened it, but you can see all of the different dates that those openings have happened. You can also go based on click rates. So what date did this patient click on something and then what did they actually click. This is really helpful when patients say that they didn't receive something and they didn't click on something, and you look and you see they've both had it delivered, they've opened it, and they've clicked on it, and you can even tell them what they clicked, which is really handy. You can see bounce rates. A bounce is simply a contact who didn't receive the email because it was just unable to deliver. This is usually going to be caused by settings inside their email client that stop the email from even reaching their inbox, kind of like a firewall or something similar to that. Unsubscribed would be all of the people who have removed themselves from your digital mailing list. And the spam reports will be contacts who marked the email as spam. The final option is not sent, and not sent is going to be people who didn't receive the email because their email address is simply invalid. It's not a good email address. So that's an important one as well. So you have all of this information to drill into specifics about just this one template, which is really powerful. Now, by clicking on Back to Performance, it's going to take us back to the dashboard. And from the dashboard, we also have more options on the left that can give us varying degrees of detail. The unsuccessful deliveries option is going to give you an overview of just that, all of the unsuccessful deliveries that are happening with your emails. So what this is showing are three main types of reasons that people are not going to receive your email. Either they are unsubscribed, so this is something they've actively done through legwork, is they've unsubscribed themselves from receiving emails. This is going to stop legwork from sending out the email. They may have marked us as spam, so after we've successfully sent and delivered the email, it's being caught by their spam filter inside their email client, and they may have even actively added us to that filter themselves. And then invalid email addresses, which are just simply email addresses that are no good. They're incorrect. So you can see all of that information here, and we will list out the people that have fallen into these varying categories here below. Now, to get more specific information on these three types of emails that won't be received correctly by a patient, you can then click on those options on the left. So for unsubscribed, if we want to look at people all time that have unsubscribed, you have a nice list here of everybody that's ever unsubscribed from email. It's really handy. Marked as spam, same thing. You can filter different date ranges and see everybody who's ever marked you as spam or within a specific date range. Invalid email addresses, same thing. You'll be able to see everybody that we have on file with a bad email address. Now, one thing to note for the invalid email addresses is we will populate this with a patient's name and information every single time an email invalidates. So as an example, Jeff Skaggs has had a bad email for quite a long time. And so because of that, he is showing up on this list over and over and over again because this is not a valid email address. Now, this is by design because we want you to see when a specific patient is kind of being a repeat offender so that you can either get new contact information for them, which you may want to just use this tab for anyway, is going to the invalid email addresses and making sure you talk to these people. But it's just a great way to grab your attention, be like, hey, this has been invalid and it's been invalid for a while. You should focus on fixing it. So it's a really great way to kind of clean that up and help get more healthy emails on file. That concludes our overview of the email performance dashboard. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Legwork support. As always, we are happy to help, and we hope this was helpful for you. Thank you and have a great day.